We got an update on Derek Moneyberg, the entrepreneur who took the world by storm last year in 2025, with him earning a black belt in a very short period of time, which caused a lot of people in the MMA and specifically the jiu-jitsu community to question how he earned that black belt in such a short period of time. And then we obviously know he had the controversy with Strickland and a couple of other MMA fighters as well. He was on Ariel's show last year, did the Overdogs podcast. He's been doing the media circuit sort of late last year, but a bit of news today is that he ended up losing a lawsuit against a YouTuber by the name of Spencer Cornelia. I've mentioned him before. I actually did a video on Derek Moneyberg last year talking about Jake Shields sort of getting off the hook in this whole situation, because Jake was the one that gave him his black belt, and felt like a lot of people weren't really talking about that. But we'll watch a little bit of this video here from Spencer. If you want to get more in depth on what Spencer's talking about here, there's a lot of legal jargon. He goes into a very good amount of detail here. So we'll watch like a little bit of this clip, and then I'll kind of give you my summary of the video, and then we'll look at some of the comments and talk about some other Derek Moneyberg related stuff. So here's Spencer Cornelia talking about the lawsuit that he won against Derek Moneyberg, and Derek Moneyberg not successful in legal action.
Can a wealthy individual use the court system to silence critics? Unfortunately, yes, and I hope my story and what you'll watch in this video highlights how wealthy fraudsters can use lawfare to silence critics. In June 2021, I was sued by Derek Moneyberg, who happens to be very wealthy. I've made numerous videos in a series discussing him and my case.
Just wanted to stop that real quick. So even before Derek Moneyberg was involved in MMA or had any sort of, came on the radar in this industry, Spencer's been doing a great job sort of covering Derek even prior to all this, because Derek was involved in a number of businesses and different things. And Spencer, his channel, if you don't watch it, highly recommend you subscribe. I'll have the full video to this in the comments, but he does a very good job kind of looking at, sort of fraudsters and people that are doing things that are a bit shady, and he kind of exposes it, kind of like CoffeeZilla a little bit. So yeah, just wanted to give a bit of context as we continue on.
On September 29, 2023, we won the lawsuit in district court. In legal terms, we were granted the motion for summary judgment. Derek Moneyberg didn't like the outcome, so he appealed the ruling in October 2023. We finally had our oral argument day in appellate court on December 9th, 2025. That's right, it was over 2 years just in appellate court. That is nearly 5 years for the entirety of the case, but we did receive the order recently ending the case. The appellate court ruled in our favor, dismissing the claims of defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and business disparagement, and affirmed the dismissal of the Lanham Act claims. That means it was a complete victory on the merits of the case in both courts. That's the good news, but now let's discuss this within the context of YouTube. Whether it was iDubbbz in his content.
So he kind of goes into detail after this, talking about basically how, one of the great things about YouTube, and I'm even doing it here in this video, is that, creators can respond to other things that are going on in the space. And basically, to kind of summarize Spencer's video from what I took away from it, was that Derek Moneyberg was kind of doing what a lot of wealthy people do, which is, bending the legal system to win a case and use money to do so, and kind of know the legal system and kind of hurt smaller creators. So the reason this is such a big deal that Spencer was able to win this case is that if Derek had won this case, this could have opened up a can of worms for other situations where wealthy people could abuse the legal system and hurt smaller creators like this. And again, what Spencer was basically sued for, my understanding was he just interviewed someone that happened to know a lot about Derek in his past, and Spencer never himself made any claims it was the person that he was interviewing. So it was kind of like a bogus case and all that. So yeah, very interesting to see, Spencer, who, does have a pretty big following on here, but obviously he's going against someone like Derek Moneyberg, who does have a lot of money. This is a big victory for all YouTube creators that are worried about being sued for doing, content that is done properly in terms of criticizing people, right? We should be allowed to do that. That's again, kind of what I'm doing here, is giving kind of my 2 cents on what's going on. So this was kind of a big deal. And this is also relevant to MMA, because I know people are going to be like, what does this have to do with MMA? Derek Moneyberg is suing Strickland. If you look here, I did a quick AI search. It says, based on reports from October 2025, Derek Moneyberg, a financial influencer and Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioner, initiated legal action against UFC fighter Sean Strickland for defamation. So in other words, like, this is important even for the Strickland case, because, and Strickland obviously isn't a YouTuber, but what Moneyberg's trying to do is use the legal system against Sean, who didn't say anything that was like defamatory or anything. He just said things about as far as my understanding is from what Strickland said, there was nothing that he said that wasn't already public knowledge. He wasn't, saying things that were going to hurt Moneyberg. So I think this win could have influence on the whole Sean Strickland thing. Now let's go take a look at some of the comments here, because you had a lot of MMA people chime in on this as well. Again, this video was just posted 7 hours ago. It says, this is by far the most important video you have ever made. If you have to first spend nearly $500,000 and half a decade of your life before you can get an anti-slap ruling, then the anti-slap laws are not doing their job. This has been a problem for a long time now. So again, there's a lot of legal stuff here that is definitely beyond my pay grade, but we got, some MMA people in here from a BJJ practitioner. Thank you for this. This guy is ruining the jiu-jitsu community in the saddest way. He talks about spending $435,000 in 5 years, been going through the same kind of BS with ambulance chasing personal injury lawyer. So we'll get some more MMA people in here, I'm sure. So a lot of people congratulating him, because I think, again, people are tired of wealthy people kind of pushing other people around. And, so it's interesting. Let's see if we'll get any more MMA comments in here. Just mostly people congratulating him. But I do think this has relevance to Strickland, because, again, if he's facing his legal battle, maybe he can take a page out of what Spencer has done here to try and make things a bit better. So that's certainly interesting. And then it's also good to see that the legal system is, favoring people that are just doing, criticism and commentary, because that's essentially what Moneyberg is went after Spencer for, and is going after Strickland for. It's not like Strickland was doing like a, Dylan Dennis, Jake Paul thing where he's posting stuff every day and trying to, defame Derek Moneyberg. I think he made a couple comments and Moneyberg's taking it to heart. And again, this whole issue is, and people, I know there's a few people out there who defend Moneyberg about the BJJ black belt thing, but what people have to realize is that you're essentially setting a bad precedence by saying, if I have as much money as I want, I can do whatever I want in terms of earning a black belt. And I know there's a whole controversy about how to earn a black belt as it is. I know there's been issues in the past about people being awarded black belts from certain gyms and how they're doing it. But I mean, it's crazy to think that there's some UFC fighters that are, employed in the UFC and they don't even have their black belt. But Derek Moneyberg, who supposedly has been training every single day, gets his black belt. The whole thing seems a little bit odd. Again, I went into a little bit more detail with this, talking about Jake Shields specifically, because he is, Jake Shields is now turned into sort of a political commentator and is really, preaching, free speech and finding out the truth. But he's part of this whole issue with Derek Moneyberg. If he was not associated with Moneyberg, Moneyberg doesn't get the black belt. He's not even part of this industry. But again, Moneyberg has inserted himself into the community because he's going around talking about the fact that he got his black belt in a short period of time. It's like, you can't fool people that do this, that practice martial arts and have been through sort of the ringer of what it takes to, earn something like this. So again, it'll be very interesting to see if this is something that can maybe help Strickland or other people that I'm sure have been impacted by Moneyberg in the MMA community. Because there's been a lot of people outspoken about this, right? About what Moneyberg has done and, him getting so defensive and coming forward and all that and everything else. So yeah, it's mostly just comments there, but I'm sure you're going to see this come out to the MMA community. But shout out to my guy, Dana Blanco. He's the one that gave me the tip on this video. I actually didn't see it, even though I am subscribed to Spencer Cornelia, sorry, not Adam Cornelia. I was thinking of Adam Carolla, I guess. So yeah, I mean, this will probably make its way to the MMA side of things. And again, I think it is relevant because of the fact that as of right now, again, time I'm recording this, it does seem like, Moneyberg is, initiating legal action. And not even that, but just think of all the collabs that he's done with, jiu-jitsu fighters and MMA fighters, right? So he is part of the industry for the simple fact that he associates himself in the MMA community. So something to keep in mind, Derek Moneyberg losing his case against Spencer Cornelia, and shout out to Spencer for coming out on top there. So there we go. So I don't know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'm sure a lot of you watching this are like, oh yeah, Derek Moneyberg, we haven't heard about him in a while. Maybe this will come up to the surface again. I am curious to see what happens with him and the whole Strickland thing. And of course, Strickland going to be fighting here pretty soon against Anthony Hernandez in that main event against UFC Houston. So something to think of as well. Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, @Lynch on Sports. My name is James Lynch. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.